I joked about swapping my husband, but his reply left everyone quiet. Revenge. The dining room was glowing with soft yellow light. The chandelier above hummed faintly, its crystals throwing tiny reflections across the polished wooden table. Glasses clinked, plates carried the scent of roasted chicken, garlic butter, and freshly baked bread. Friends gathered around us, laughing louder than the music playing in the background. The night was meant to be warm and lighthearted, but one sentence turned it into something no one forgot. I leaned back in my chair, swirling the deep red wine in my glass. The liquid shimmered, catching the glow of the candles. With a grin, I said, maybe we should swap husbands for a week, just for fun. The table erupted in laughter. Forks tapped. Someone even slapped the table. It was the kind of silly remark that usually dies quickly in the air. But my husband, Daniel, did not laugh. He placed his glass down with a steady, deliberate sound. The room fell into a rhythm of uneasy chuckles waiting for his reply. His eyes met mine, sharp and unreadable. And then he spoke. That might not be as shocking for everyone here as you think. The laughter broke. It fell flat, swallowed by silence. I felt my chest tighten, my smile freeze. The sound of the clock on the wall grew louder, ticking like a hammer against stone. Every pair of eyes turned toward him. Daniel leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. His voice was calm, almost too calm. After all, he said, some swaps have already happened, without anyone calling them jokes. The room stilled. A fork slipped from someone's fingers and clattered against porcelain. The sound rang sharp. I could feel the blood rushing to my face, hot and heavy. The air was thick, as if the entire room was holding its breath. My hand trembled slightly, though I tried to hide it beneath the tablecloth. Daniel's words hung in the air like smoke, bitter and impossible to ignore. He scanned the faces around the table, his gaze slow, deliberate. Every eye dropped to the plates. The candles flickered as if stirred by some invisible current. My ears burned, my heart pounding hard enough that I could feel it in my throat. The scent of roasted garlic turned sour in my nose. I forced myself to speak, my voice tight. What do you mean by that? He tilted his head, a faint smile touching his lips, but there was no kindness in it. Maybe you should ask your friends, he said. The silence deepened, heavier than before. One of our guests shifted in her chair, the wooden legs scraping the floor. It sounded like a scream against the silence. I wanted the floor to open and swallow me whole. But the night was not done revealing itself. I stared at Daniel, but he did not look away. His eyes were steady, cold and unblinking. The people around the table fidgeted, their laughter long gone. It was no longer a dinner, it was a trial, and I was the one seated before judgment. Finally Daniel stood. The chair groaned as he pushed it back. He adjusted his jacket slowly, with deliberate precision. His voice dropped lower, heavy with finality. Some truths taste bitter, but better to taste them now than choke on them later. Without another word, he left the room. The sound of his footsteps echoed down the hallway, fading into the distance. No one spoke, no one moved. The chandelier above flickered once, as if even the light itself was unsettled. I sat frozen in my chair, surrounded by people, yet utterly alone. The joke that had begun with laughter ended in silence so deep it felt eternal. And in that silence, I finally understood. Revenge was not always loud. Sometimes it was a whisper delivered at the perfect moment. A whisper sharp enough to cut deeper than any scream. And that night, Daniel's whisper had cut through us all.